or not, hot or not topics I want to get to first. Cam versus Gillie. So this Cam Newton versus Gillie the Kid thing has been really one of the hot topics, especially since, football is back in the swing and, NBA is stopped. And again, football is back in swing and college football is back in swing. People's adrenalines are high, right? And especially when we talk about football, when we talk about sports, people's adrenalines get pumping, right? And testosterone gets heavy. You understand what I'm saying? When we talk about Cam Newton and Gillie the Kid, those are two probably, of the most testosteronic men that are in the podcast media space right now. You feel what I'm saying? And just in life general. But just a quick aside when it comes to this, I have no dog in this fight. When it comes to this, when it comes to Gillie versus Cam, I have no dog in this fight because for both of them, I think it's both theatrical, right? The one thing I did this summer, and I'll put it to this because I think it relates to the story. The one thing I did this summer was really watch and observe. The one thing one of my good podcast homies, Dominic, shout out to him. The one thing he told me was, you're a fantastic observer. You observe things and learn things and acquire things very, very well. I've always been like that. I've been like that since a child, right? I can take that back to, as I told y'all before, I can take that back to just being in the kitchen with the grown folk, and my mom and my grandma would always tell me like, yo, get out the kitchen, you in the grown folks' kitchen. Cause shit, it wasn't nothing interesting. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing interesting going on with the kids. We kids. Ain't shit going on. We talk about toys and shit like that. Ooh, what your toy look like? No, I want the juice. I want the shits. What's going on with Auntie Pat and them? You understand what I'm saying? They doing crack. I want to know that shit. You know what I'm saying? I was nosy. I was that type of kid. Here's the thing though, right? That goes into this, right? But I have it goes into the story because I have no dog in this fight. I don't want no dog in this fight. However, right? I can call a spade a spade. And here's the spade. I think when we get into this media space, we have to understand there's a line, and there may and maybe not a line. I don't know. But there should be a line where disrespect towards a person's character, who they are, is kind of just drawn, right? For Gillie to say, or for Gillie to say like, hey, Cam, you're disrespecting my quarterback. You haven't won a Super Bowl, right? And to me, I think that's not disrespectful. I think, to me, that is very just cemented of what Cam did not do. Cam is a fantastic quarterback. I'm not Cam Newton. I'm not as big as Cam Newton. I can't play football like Cam Newton. So I'm not even about to sit here and say Cam Newton is a bad quarterback because I've seen Cam Newton play. He's a fantastic quarterback. He's one of those quarterbacks who bridged the gap for the Lamar Jacksons of the world. You understand what I'm saying? For all these running quarterbacks, he was one of them ones with the Michael Vicks and everybody to bridge this gap for a lot of these running quarterbacks to be what they are. I tip my hat off to him as he continues to be dominant in all the spaces he continues to step into. When Cam Newton went after Gillie's music career and how Gillie was shaking ass on a video, allegedly, I was like, all right. Because I know how petty, I watch both of them. I know how petty they can be. And it was Petty C and Petty G going at each other. You understand what I'm saying? And here's what I mean. Gillie the Kid, going on social media, holding up the Lombardi, talking about Cam Newton ain't got one of these. Petty C goes at Gillie, right? Cam goes at Gillie, because now, congratulations to Cam, he's getting his number retired at Auburn. So what does Cam do? Cam gets the national championship trophy. Gillie ain't got one of these. I say, yo, these niggas. I said, yo, you know, I really hope they have squashed it, had a conversation about it, because for me, it's hilarious. It shouldn't be nothing of beef, right? Because I agree with Cam in terms of, listen, I don't think I was disrespectful in coming at your rap career, right? You came at my career saying that I didn't do something. I came at your career and said that you didn't do something. But I also agree with Gillie to a degree where, Cam, I mean, we saw you on that television screen, you know, in that Super Bowl, you know, when you didn't, you know, hop your big ass on that damn ball. You know what I'm saying? We saw that too. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a beef that don't need to be a beef, you know? So shout out to Gillie, shout out to Cam. Continue to make y'all money on this beef. You feel what I'm saying? Okay.